Hi everyone, Jennifer here. I have come into my closet. Right now I'm in my closet and the kids are in the background so you might hear them. I don't normally do impromptu videos like this, but something's happening right now and I feel so emotional about it. And I know that a lot of you do too. So you got the news that Notre Dame is burning. And I couldn't believe it. My dad was the first one to let me know. He texted me and I just couldn't believe it. And so I went on to the news and then I saw, and it's unbelievable. So I just felt compelled to come on here and, just talk to you about it. Because we are all Francophiles on this channel. We love Paris. And I have my own Notre Dame stories with Madame Chic. But basically, I'm just reading the news, and as I'm posting this, I still don't know what the cause of the fire is, so by the time you see this, that might be more apparent. But this is really fresh and really raw. And I'm reading a news article here from the Daily Mail. It says, a spokesman said the entire wooden frame of the cathedral would likely come down, and that the vault of the edifice could be threatened too. Everything is burning. Nothing will remain from the frame. Notre Dame spokesperson André Finot told the French media. 12th century cathedral is home to incalculable works of art and is one of the world's most famous tourist attractions. Pictures posted on social media showed enormous plumes of smoke billowing into the city's skyline and flames engulfing large sections of the historic building as firefighters struggled to contain the inferno. According to French newspaper Le Monde, the fire broke out in the attic of the monument before spreading across the roof. Officials in Paris said the fire could be linked to restoration works, as the peak of the church is currently undergoing a €6 million renovation project. So I don't know why I feel so emotional about this. You hear horrible stories in the news all the time. But when I heard this, I just immediately felt like crying. And I think that everybody who has been to Paris has their own personal Notre Dame story, So when I went to Paris, that was pretty much the first place that we all went. And I have this one picture that I'll show you here. I brought it out in my Paris photo album here. And these are just some of my friends from college. And this was literally on one of our first days in Paris, and we went to the Ile de la Cité and we took pictures in front of Notre Dame. But the cathedral means so much more to me than a tourist attraction. Because yes, everybody goes as a tourist. You have to go see Notre Dame when you go to Paris. It's like, seeing the Eiffel Tower. It is the place to go, really. Everybody goes. And yes, of course, there's so much history steeped there, right? And I was reading about it, and it was first commissioned in 1163 by King Louis VII, and it was completed in 1345, nearly 200 years later. So this has just gotten me thinking, because I don't know, I feel like it's so much more symbolic than just a building burning down, It took 200 years to build the cathedral, and it housed so much incredible artwork, and it was just a tribute and a worship place for God. Think about that. Think about that in this world, this fast world where everything is just slapped up, Houses are just built right away. Things are just put in and put in place. This cathedral took over 200 years to build. So the people who started it did not get to see it finished. Okay. And I have my own personal Notre Dame story other than visiting it as a tourist. So you know that I mentioned in the book that Madame Chic would volunteer, and she had a volunteer job. Well, her volunteer job was at Notre Dame. And she would volunteer there regularly, and she loved Notre Dame. She had an affinity for it. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but Madame Chic was a devout Catholic, and she was very, very committed to her faith. And so Notre Dame meant a lot to her. And I am not a Catholic, although I am a Christian. And I just could appreciate how much Notre Dame meant to her. I'll never forget this. So Madame Chic and I, we had an interesting relationship. It was a good relationship, but she told me a lot of things and I told her a lot of things. And, I really looked up to her. And she kept saying to me that she wanted to take me on a private tour of Notre Dame because she was able to do that, to just show me the inside and tell me things that she knew and everything related to her work there. And so I said, sure, of course, I was excited to do that. And I remember that she kind of came to me, and she was a very forceful woman, right? When she had an idea in her head, that was it. That's what we were going to do. Just to back up a little bit, to kind of show you what type of person she was. When I first moved to Paris and then I went to stay with her, I was going to be taking my classes for the first day. And I had to take the metro for the first time. And I had to go into town to, I believe it was the 8th arrondissement. Now I can't even remember where my courses were held. But I had to take the metro to go to my courses, basically. And I was a little bit nervous about it. I kept quizzing her, okay, where do I go? And as soon as I brought it up, she said, I'm going to go with you. Don't worry, I'm going with you. And at that point, I was 20 years old. So I just was like, I don't need a chaperone my first day of school. I don't need my French mommy to come walk me into class. I was a bit embarrassed about it. But she would not hear it. She told me that she was going to take me into my course. The group that I was in was called Accent. And so I thought, okay, here I go. And so she took me on the metro, and there were several changes, and to be grateful, I was kind of glad that she shepherded me there to my class because I probably would have gotten lost. Anyway, she walked me in. She met, the lady at the front desk, and she, peeked into the classes and everything, and she really approved of the program, I remember. And I remember my friends all making fun of me that Madame Chic had to accompany me to my first day of school like I was a first grader or something. Okay, so that was the type of woman that she was. She was just very decisive, and, she made up her mind and she did it. So I remember her coming to me and saying that, it was like in the morning, that today I'm going to take you to Notre Dame. And I remember, you don't argue with Madame Chic, you just say yes, you just say oui. And I remember being slightly frustrated because it was the first sunny day that Paris had seen in months, okay? And my friends and I had already made plans. We were going to go to the park and we were going to go sunbathing and get baguettes and read books and just have an amazing time. And they were all going. And I was like, well, do we have to go today? Can we go another? Nope, we're going today, okay? Of course, she said this in French. I kind of begrudgingly went along with her. And I hate to admit that now, especially as Notre Dame is burning, but I have to be honest, I didn't want to go initially that day. And that just shows the folly of youth, about where our priorities are. I should have been jumping at the opportunity to go to Notre Dame with Madame Chic so she could show me her private tour. So anyway, I remember we took the bus there, and I remember being on the bus with her. I remember being so irritated that I was missing all the fun with my friends on the first sunny day that we had seen in months, which is ridiculous. But anyway, so then we got to Notre Dame, and once we got in, everything changed, It was incredible inside there in the cathedral. It was beautiful. It was still. The air was different. Anybody who has been in there can attest to this. It was remarkable. It was so special. And she took me around, and we were there for, I think it was about an hour, and she talked to me about the stained glass windows, and she talked to me about, the architecture and the history, and she showed me everything, and she was delighting in it. She really wanted to tell me these things. And I remember, right as I got in, I softened and I thought, okay, Jennifer, just enjoy this experience because this is very special and not everybody gets to experience this. And I met her friends there, and, and of course there were lots of tourists there. It was a sunny day, but we got to go in and it was unbelievable. And so I spent that afternoon with Madame Chic walking around Notre Dame, the inside, and her showing it to me. And then it was over and we parted ways, and I went to go meet my friends in the park. So I even met them anyway after all that. I'll never forget that day with her, never, because just her wealth of knowledge, her excitement for the space, the beauty that was there was just so apparent. Now that it's burning to the ground, it just pains me that people might not be able to see it, that my children might not be able to see it. I told my daughters that it was burning down, and my older daughter said, "Oh no, but mommy, we haven't seen it yet." You know, and it's just a shame. It's been up for 850 years. I don't have that many pictures of Notre Dame. I'm sure I have others in a box somewhere. But that's because when I was in Paris, it was the year 2001. It was a spring right before 9/11 happened. And that was when the world was different. You know, that was before selfies. That was before smartphones. That was before all of that. And I'm so glad that it was before that, before social media. You know, I wasn't there just taking selfies of myself and just trying to document every single moment so I could share it with other people. I was just in the moment. And that was what captivated me so much about my experience in Paris, is that I was deeply in the moment for all of it, through my frustrations, through my sadness, through my happiness, through my joy, through the dark times, through the light times. I was there in the moment with everybody. And the world has changed. It has changed. And the way the world is now, where we're in this, you know, social media, selfie culture that we're in, taking pictures of everything, you know, I'm not saying that that's bad, but it has changed. It's not the same anymore. People act differently. Situations are different. And I feel like the burning of Notre Dame is like almost like a death to the old way. It's like the old way is dying out. The world is new. I mean, everything is new. The way things are happening, everything, the way we document things. So I'm just so grateful. I'm gonna cry. I'm just so grateful that I got to go to Paris that year before the world changed. And that I got to experience such an amazing life, such an amazing time. And that it's seared in my memory, and that I journaled it and I wrote it down. I kept a journal of almost every day when I was in Paris. And that I was able to document that and write that down because the world is different now. And I don't think it'll ever be the same. So I wanted to close with a quote because I, you know, was feeling like being inspired even though this sad tragedy is happening. But I found one from Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who wrote Le Petit Prince. And he says, "A rock pile ceases to be a rock pile the moment a single man contemplates it, bearing within him the image of a cathedral." Notre Dame was a thing of beauty. A thing of beauty. It took 200 years to build. And it's burning. And this is the Holy Week too. Good Friday's coming up, Easter, Resurrection Day is on Sunday, and it's just, I don't know, it's so much, you know? So I just thought that I would come in here and I would just talk to you because I know you're feeling it too. I know you are. So thank you for joining me today on the Daily Connoisseur, and I will see you next time. Au revoir.